Good afternoon. My name is Marty Miller with Twin Oaks Active Lifestyle Community in historic Hollister, California. I want to talk today about a little more detail on the reasons why people decide once they're 55 and older to move from their current residence, where they may have been living for the last 30 or 40 years, and decide to move to an active lifestyle community like Twin Oaks in Hollister. First, we'll begin with a brief look at the demographics of Hollister and San Benito County. So what I would note is, from the slide, that during the 9 years between the 2010 census and 2019, 3,071 people moved to Hollister. What's really interesting, though, is that of those 3,071, 2,200 were 55 and older. Clearly, people, when they reach their later years in life, decide that Hollister and San Benito County is the place to be. So what we're going to explore today is the reasons, first, why they leave their current residence. And typically we expect that if they're coming from outside of Hollister, they're coming from Santa Clara County. We'll look at what we call the push factors, what's pushing them out of Santa Clara County. And then we'll look at the pull factors, which is why they decide, once they decide to leave Santa Clara County, why they decide they want to move to San Benito County and specifically to Hollister. The first push factor would be what I call home maintenance, or just getting really tired of dealing with mowing the lawn, fixing the water heater, fixing broken pipes, and everything that has to do with living in a home that you've been there for 30 or 40 years and things are starting to reach the end of their useful life. The second push factor is isolation. And to explain isolation, I need to talk about the life cycle of a neighborhood. So when we were younger, and I'm past 55 now, when my wife and I were younger, we got married, we moved into a neighborhood in a relatively new house, and we had 2 children, Amy and Jeffrey. And we were busy with our careers. We were busy with raising our 2 children, and we were active in community affairs. My wife was in PTA. I coached my son's soccer team and baseball team. We had very busy lives. And as it turned out, everyone in the neighborhood was like us. They were younger, they had kids, and they had busy lives too. But the years went on, and our children moved away, and we got older, surprisingly, and people started moving out of the neighborhood. First the kids moved out, and then a lot of the parents moved out. And the parents that were left did not have the same things in common anymore with the new people in the neighborhood that we would have 20 or 30 years ago. And so the parents that were left begin to get this feeling of isolation. Factor number 3 is traffic and congestion. So if you happen to be living in Silicon Valley area, you know about getting in your car in the morning and sitting in traffic. And you know about standing in line at the supermarket waiting to get checked out. And after a while, that gets very tiresome. And you look for a place where you don't have to deal with all that traffic congestion and, quite frankly, also the pollution that comes with living in an urban area. Number 4 is safety. As we get older, safety becomes more and more of an issue with us, especially if we're getting into those years where our bodies become a little more frail. And living in a neighborhood where crime may be increasing as neighborhoods change over and as as things like that happen, begins to feel like a place where it's not quite as safe as it used to be when we were younger, and we're looking for a place that's a little safer. Number 5 is inconvenience to getting to services. Now, that could come from 2 causes. One could be that we don't feel as comfortable driving anymore, or we don't want to drive anymore, and it's much better if we have access to those services without driving to them. And number 2 may be that the services were always a drive away or a long distance away, or over time we developed a routine of going to physicians that happened to be a little further away. And what we're looking for then is a location where services are a lot more convenient to get to, that perhaps we don't have to drive to, that we can walk to, or it's very close to public transportation. Number 6 is functionality of the house. Now, what does that mean? Generally, that would mean, for example, if you're living in a 2-story house and it's becoming more and more challenging to deal with those stairs, or maybe you're not excited with the prospect of dealing with those chairs as you get older anyway, and you're looking for something that you don't have to deal with those stairs. So those are the factors that are driving people away from their current residence that they may have been living in for the last 20, 30, or even 40 years. Let's now look at why people, when they decide to leave their current residence, would want to move to Hollister and to Twin Oaks. The first issue with moving away from your current house, and that is maintenance, home maintenance. At Twin Oaks, the lots are small, so there's essentially very little yard work to do, and because the houses are new, there's essentially no home maintenance to do for the first year, and then very low home maintenance after that. The second push factor for folks leaving was isolation. However, that's exactly what Twin Oaks is designed to address, because at Twin Oaks, there'll be other people that are 55 and older who have similar interests, and we will provide a wide variety of facilities, from sports courts to exercise equipment rooms, fitness rooms, movement rooms for dance and yoga, pools, bocce ball courts, pickleball courts, and more. And also we will have a full-time staff that will be providing programmed activities. And some of those activities, for example, could include planning trips to the local area and even trips to foreign countries. And the staff at Twin Oaks will do all the legwork, provide all the details, and all you have to do is get on the bus to the airport, hop on the plane, and follow the program. The third point was traffic and congestion. Now, Hollister is a small town. There's 35,000 people living in Hollister itself, 58,000 in the county of San Benito. It's a farming community. There's lots of open space. So it's a small town, but yet it's not so tiny that it doesn't have all the services you will need. In fact, it does. And you will find that it's probably just the right size for folks who are looking for this kind of lifestyle. The next point is safety. What we're offering at Twin Oaks is a gated community, first of all, and every house has a security system and a camera on the front door. And it is very close to a fire substation, and in general is a very safe place. So safety concerns we believe are very well addressed. The fifth issue was inconvenience to services. Now, this is where Twin Oaks really shines, because we are walking distance to the largest shopping center in town. For example, there's both a Nob Hill and a Safeway grocery store in walking distance away. There's also a Target walking distance away. It's also walking distance to most of the medical offices in town and the local hospital called Hazel Hawkins Hospital. And if you don't feel like walking, we have arranged that there will be a bus stop at the entrance to the community. So whether it's using public transportation or just walking or even taking your bicycle, this is an easy way to get to the services that you need. The next point we covered was functionality. We've already discussed in the home you're leaving, you might have to deal with the stairs going to a second story. At Twin Oaks, we only have single-story homes. That's not an issue. But more than that, new homes have far more upgraded and better functionality than the older homes. So, for example, there's more insulation in the walls, and all the appliances are Energy Star, which means that the cost of running your home is going to be lower than your older home. And then I would also point out that the weather is very similar to Silicon Valley. It's a very temperate weather climate, even though it's a little further inland than Silicon Valley is. There is a corridor through the hills to Monterey Bay. And so we get winds off the Monterey Bay that flow through the hills and keep Hollister a very temperate climate. So, just briefly in summary, there are a number of factors that cause people to want to look elsewhere for their home as they get into their later years in life. And we believe that we have designed a community in a city that is perfect, just perfect, for folks to live out their later years in life. And a lot of the factors that we've gone over are the fact that we are endeavoring to, or we are facilitating a long, healthy, active, fulfilling lifestyle by focusing on connecting with other people of similar age and interests, number one, health and wellness, number two, and lifelong learning, number three. I want to thank you for listening in today. We appreciate that you did. We know that your time is valuable, and we especially appreciate you sharing these few moments with us today. Have a good rest of your day and a good weekend. Thank you.
But it's number 5 sounded great. So go ahead, focus on Amy, and then start 6.
Amy is smiling all the time. She's forcing me to smile. And I know that's on purpose. And that's great. And in addition to that, it's got the latest colors and designs and materials that will make you feel like you're really in with the in crowd at Twin Oaks.
Okay. It's a good job. Let's move on.
I'm trying to jazz it up.
You're doing good. Doing great. I like it.
I'm in with the in crowd.
That's
all right.
Wow.
Another point